ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on the Sports Byline USA Network. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined, as always, by SFL CEO Deucey Moose, Zach Stanley.
What up, Jonald?
I saw you making fun of me over there.
Go Hibbert.
I can see in the corner of my eye.
Go Roy Hibbert.
You know what? Let's introduce a man who was on the wrong day of the Roy Hibbert bandwagon, jumped off, and he went nuts. Nick Steblenko, Teddy Bear 2.
It was all because I did that, and I methodically,
sacrifice that you had to make.
Yep, exactly. I knew that was going to happen, and I just went forward with my plan.
The Indiana Pacers fans, thank you for jumping off the bandwagon.
You're welcome.
He showed up, but I think he's gone again.
Nope.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Well,
I have a feeling we're going to get into it a little bit further down the line.
Yeah. I feel so as well. I think coming up in John Old's mailbag today on the Star Fantasy League Show, I believe there's a Roy Hibbert question.
It's draft day, baby.
You know what I'm looking forward to?
Get up, Rochester, New York. Get up, Western New York. Go Bills.
I want to hear some walk-up music, because apparently rookies are allowed to play their own walk-up music now.
How badly do you think that's going to go?
Well, I don't know. I mean, because I know what I would play if I was going up there.
Money, 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 money.
Luda.
Money. I think it'd be really funny.
Pimping all over the world. That's my style.
You are the worst.
It's going to be very interesting.
I know, it's going to be funny.
I think Roger Goodell...
There's going to be a lot of censoring.
Yeah, Roger Goodell's going to hear a song and go, nope. Like, you sit back down. I'm not playing
you
that.
get to choose your song, but I screen all of them.
Yeah, he gets the veto power. That'd be amazing. He's like, no, don't play that. Nope, don't play that either. Play some Kenny G. That's about it.
See, somebody should just throw out
Earth,
a little
Wind, and
Jackson
Fire.
5.
Yeah. You know what? If somebody comes out to Jackson 5 or Earth, Wind, and Fire, I think that would be amazing. That's good,
cool.
That's
That'd be
good
great.
player character right
Miles
there.
Davis.
Yeah, that works. All right, today on the show, we don't have any of this music. We have none of that going on. We're not playing old school jams.
We have our own music.
We do. We're not playing slow
There it
jams.
is. I can hear it.
That is true. But we do have NBA lineup breakdown for Thursday with Nick Steblenko. We got some John Old's mailbag. We got a bunch going on. We got value plays for Friday on StarFantasyLeagues.com across NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot going on, but coming up after the first break, it's Nick's turn to break down his lineup on StarFantasyLeagues.com, and hopefully he'll do well. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Now, let's get back to it. The Star Fantasy League Show. Feel free to tweet the show at SFL Show.
Let's do this.
Time for your Star Fantasy League's NBA Fantasy Lineup Breakdown.
You heard the man in the cage. It might be that time again for Nick Steblenko and his NBA lineup breakdown.
It feels like we're running out of time.
For the very first time.
I feel like we're running out of time.
I know, isn't this is getting sad. As good as the first round was, the second round's kind of a little depressing. There's only 2 games a night. And it turns out, one of these games has been good so far? One?
What, you didn't think last night's game was good?
The one game.
That's the game.
That is
the
one game.
Yeah. It was very disappointing last night because, well, the hockey game wasn't very good.
No.
However, there was no late hockey game, so I had no recourse when I was watching the Thunder just blow out the Clippers.
Yep.
Which wasn't a surprise at all.
What?
The whole momentum.
What are you talking about?
The MVP momentum, everything going into it.
I want to talk about that later in the show, about momentum for winning awards and all that, because that actually is going to come into play in Game 3
They
of
should
that
just
same
give
series.
everybody an award every game.
You guys were touting the Clippers and saying how there was a possibility that they could just...
I said Thunder Spurs in the West Finals. Don't you lump me in with that.
Of course there was a
Zach
possibility.
No, Zach was talking
There's always a
about how-
possibility.
All right, whatever.
All right, you know what there is?
Play back the tape.
Like, all in all, I was technically right.
John will play it back.
Hold on. Yeah, really. We don't have drops yet on the Star Fantasy Show. Since it is a day that ends in Y, we can talk about me beating you in daily fantasy basketball.
That's true, but my sacrifice last night is going to yield some serious results. I am about to go on the streak of a lifetime.
Yeah, the Hibbert train. He's going to ride
He's
the
not
Hibbert
giving
train.
up.
All All right, you know what?
Absolutely
It's
not.
good. Every day is a different day on StarFantasyLeagues.com. You get to build a new lineup. You have another chance to beat me.
This is true.
It's currently 9-4 in the playoffs. Not good. Not good for you.
That's fine. Don't
All
worry.
right.
Going to rattle off 6 straight
I know.
right here.
I got to give a quick spiel. For those of you who haven't played basketball on StarFantasyLeagues.com, you get a $100,000 salary cap to pick 2 guards, 2 forwards, 2 center, 2 utility. It's any player you want. Get the most points, win the most money.
And John, the funny thing about that is that each individual player actually works out as a percentage of the salary.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's really easy to understand. If you're used to sites that it's like 60,000 or 80,000, I mean, it's not easy.
It screws me up.
It does. We make it easy here.
How am I supposed to calculate and work everything out?
How am I
when I'm
supposed
not
to
good
use
at math?
Yeah, how am I supposed to use math? We do all the math for you.
Yeah, you don't need a calculator to play at Star Fantasy.
And also on the site, we just added a CSV option. If you want to get all the stats, if you like looking at these players in your own way, using your own algorithms, we can just export it right for you.
Export that shiz.
That shiz, yes, please. Don't ever say shiz ever again.
Shizzle.
Oh my God, this whole Luda thing is just getting up there, isn't it?
Luda!
This is the worst.
Crap,
This is
that
the
was-
worst.
I think that broke somebody's speakers.
Yeah, probably. Please,
I
please
felt it.
start, Nick. Please, for the love of God, start your lineup today.
Really? That's the
For
first time you've ever asked me that.
Start with your coaching spot.
All right. My
Start
coach
with
of the day.
Dave Yeager, who's not even playing, or who's not even coaching anymore.
All right, so I'm going to start with Tony Parker. I know he blew up in Game 1. I'm not really expecting him to do the same exact thing, but I think he's going to be very, very involved in the offense once again. He's at 12,221. And I have probably the most rounded lineup I've put together so far.
So you know what? I was stupid in round 1. I mean, we look at these matchups for the regular season. Okay. Damian Lillard, we've said it 1.5 million times, is a really, really piss-poor defender. And Tony Parker kind of manhandles people who can't defend. So why do we all overlook this clearly, like, glaring stat?
He's not that bad.
Damian Lillard's 28th in the league against point guard. Or, sorry, Portland was. But he's pretty bad.
Parker's right up there with him.
I'm well. Actually,
But despite that, this is a series where Tony Parker can take advantage. We've seen throughout these different series where kind of the hiccups lie. Kendrick Perkins and Serge Ibaka have done a great job down low against Blake and DeAndre, so the Clippers have had to rely a little bit on the outside shot, stuff like we've seen that from series to series, different matchups
things
that
definitely
players can take advantage of.
Tony Parker was quiet.
To be honest, possibly the youth and length of LaMarcus Aldridge could be a huge advantage.
Absolutely.
Not to mention the youth of Thiago Splitter being a disadvantage for the Spurs.
Of Ike Thiago
Thiago.
Splitter. Yeah, not his real name, by the way.
I'm telling you, they used to say that.
Oh, sure, yeah, that happens.
I am the most experienced NBA
Something.
voice.
I was like, what are we going for?
Experienced NBA
Analyst,
dead air analyst.
Guru,
All right.
legend.
dead air analyst. All right, who we got on the?
Looks like I'm going to have to bash
All right,
Teddy
well,
Bear's
I
lineup today.
have 4 Spurs, and none of them are named Ike. My second,
Well, literally none of them are named Ike, so you're going to be fine.
Except for
My-
Thiago Splitter.
my second guard is going to be Manu Ginobili.
Oh, good. We match. I have both of those guys as well.
I know he got left behind in Game 1, but that was more of a result of the blowout. I don't think that's going to just continue on. So I think
No, a
Ginobili
lot of
will
these
get back
stats
in it.
will be a little bit skewed. Like Jeff Ayers, who I believe Zach somewhere stuffed in his lineup.
No, I've got Aaron Baines. That's
I'm
who
sorry,
it is.
that's what I meant. Aaron Baines. The other guy is Jeff Ayers. He's the one behind him.
Oh, I've
right?
got Aaron Baines in, baby.
You do?
Talk about a guy who has LeBron and LaMarcus Aldridge in his lineup. This guy.
Oh, do you really?
Yep.
Okay, all right. That
And it
makes
actually isn't that bad, besides Baines.
Mine is much more rounded than that.
Yeah, please. I don't advocate any of you people that are listening
We'll
to have
see.
Aaron Baines
All
in your
right, fair
lineup.
enough. My third Spur is going to be Kawhi Leonard. He is at 12,540. He actually averaged almost 25 fantasy points per game against Portland in the regular season, and he had 32.25 in Game 1.
I'm not that big a fan.
What's his salary again?
He is at 12,540. I have pretty much everybody.
It's manageable.
from-
This series is going to be high scoring. Spurs aren't the defensive team they used to be.
No.
Pretty much all of my players, with the exception of Tim Duncan, who is my next player, are between 10 and 12,000.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of what you need to do when there's only 2 games going on. You want to make the most well-rounded lineup, or you want to go the exact opposite route.
Top
put in
heavy, baby.
A ton of ridiculous
Top
top heavy,
heavy.
and then go super low because it's either one or the other. You have to really there's very little value to find if you want to go for the Aaron Baines. Obviously, you can, but it's
I
a little.
trimmed my lineup to $80 remaining.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Well done.
Thanks.
That's very good.
Thanks, guys.
Very nice.
I don't know. Tim Duncan.
I'll let you know what I got. Yeah, because if LeBron gets like 45 and Tim Duncan gets 30, that just makes my value right there. Boom.
That's very true.
All right. Well, my first non-Spur is going to be Robin Lopez. He is 12,000.
Robin. I've got Robin.
He had 27
Please
in
don't
game
ever call
one.
him that.
I think he's going to outperform Splitter and Dia in the entire series.
Yeah, he really looked dominant in this game. He's the heady veteran. He appeared to be everywhere he needed to be in that game. Like, you just looked, his hands were up grabbing rebounds when he shouldn't have been. He was pretty well boxed out
His
a lot.
His hair was getting stuck in the netting.
I'm going to call him Sideshow Rolo from now on.
I'm going to call him Throbbing Robin.
That's fine. Please. God, that's so bad.
Oh, man. Tweet.
I don't have Lopez in my lineup. I'm going with Chris Bosh. He looked really good in game one.
I have Bosh as well, yeah.
Screw that.
Wade has been completely absent from Miami.
Done.
So it's pretty much LeBron and Bosh that are going to be doing most of the scoring.
And Tony Douglas.
T-Doug.
No, please not Tony.
I'd rather put in Birdman just to spite Bosh.
Birdman was okay in limited minutes. He got a lot of blowout minutes, though.
I mean, your hatred for the Heat, it really it takes so many shapes and forms. It's very crazy.
So you have Bosh and Robin Lopez in your two center,
in my mouth.
your two center spots?
Yep.
Okay. Who do you got to round out your lineup today? We're going through this pretty quick. I'm not really disagreeing with much outside of Kawhi, pretty much. And Timmy, I'm not a huge fan of for tomorrow.
But really, Kawhi not.
I'm
know
sorry,
what I mean?
for tonight.
Kawhi not. Yes.
I see what you did there.
Good.
All right, well, the last two are going to be from Brooklyn, Joe Johnson and Paul Pierce. I know they had a tough time in game one, but I got to imagine that they're going to at least come back a little bit here. What?
I made a very grave error when I said I don't have Robin Lopez. I was just not looking deep enough. I do have him, just not in my center spot today.
Oh, wow.
Paul Pierce is the truth.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to come back. I think Brooklyn as a team knows that he has to be involved in the offense. He has to be a focal point in the offense, and he's not going to sit down and let LeBron James take this series alone.
You said it right there. He's not going to allow LeBron James to do any. He hates him. I'm pretty sure he hates LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, well, how can you not? I mean, Paul Pierce he's had his run, but man, when this guy came on, it was a clear rivalry.
He still has it in him too. It's not like he's got to summon something inside him, because in round one he had two of those games where you're just like, those are Paul Pierce playoff games.
Yep.
He's got, unlike Kevin Garnett, who you go, does he even have it? I don't know what he has. He's looked 3 steps slow this season.
I watched the Sports Century on Kevin Garnett last night.
Did you cry?
Really good stuff.
Did you get to see Lester Hudson in the video somewhere? From point guard from Minnesota Timberwolves days? Latrell Sprewell?
No, they didn't put that team in there. This was before that, I think.
Ooh.
Did they tell you what Garnett said when they won the championship?
Anything's possible.
Yeah, see, I knew you two would say that.
Of course we'd say that. That's exactly what...
All right, just a quick rundown for me. I got Damian Lillard, Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, LeBron, Lopez, Baines, Aldridge, and Ray Allen.
Oh, Ray Allen.
You have Ray Allen?
Woo! Oh, my God.
Oh,
Ray, I thought you hated Ray.
I do.
Zach's going a little bit out.
You know, Ray used to be his favorite player.
Oh.
7,200, 20 points last game. I'll see what he does tonight.
All right, we will see what he does tonight. We'll get back to you tomorrow with the results, as we do every day on the Star Fantasy League show. Coming up after the break, it is that time again for John Old's Mailbag. And you'll see the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
The Star Fantasy League Show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into John Old's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
It's that time once again, boys and girls, to delve into the world of John Old's Mailbag. All you got to do to get into John Old's Mailbag is tweet us at SFL Show or SFL Zach or SFL Nick or whatever Twitter handle I'm using.
Unless your question is completely incompetent.
And if it is, we'll read it and then make fun of you.
Unless it's completely incompetent and has nothing to do with sports.
And then I will definitely read it on the air.
I have nothing more to say.
And if you just tweet us the word shiz, I'm going to make sure you're banned from Twitter.
Hashtag shiz. That'll work for me, please.
Please don't ever say the word shiz in your life again. Ever.
Shiz.
Oh, God. I'm so uncomfortable. We're going to have 20 minutes. You know what? Before we came back from break, Nick decided that he said nothing matters except when the game happens.
I did not say that. Don't twist my words
never
like that.
Worry
That's
about,
awful.
so
John asked me who to pick of two-player sets. I made a pick, and Nick said it didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter. So we're not
whatever happens.
We're not going to do this show anymore. The Star Fantasy League show is just going to be dead air and Zach saying dumb things.
I can do that.
Well, that's how much
I can fill a lot of dumb air.
You know what I heard John say the other day? He said he wanted to walk downtown and he wanted to pick somebody up from Lyle Avenue. That's what he said. And so I'm going to twist that and make it sound like He wanted to pick up a working woman, and this is what you're doing. You're twisting my words into nothing.
I don't even know what he's referencing.
I think he just made up a story about one of his past.
One of my past. See? Twist the words. Just
you
twist
said it.
Just
All
twist
right, we actually have a there's a lot.
Hashtag I didn't say that.
That's
I
a
don't
big
know why
hashtag.
he needs to bring hookers into
it got
discussion
weird
about fantasy sports.
Yeah, anybody in Rochester listening at 105.5 right now is like, oh, I know that. Oh, that's not good.
I know all about Lyle.
Lyle Avenue, not good, dangerous. All right, there's a lot going on in Giles mailbag. Let's jump into it. We're already halfway through the segment. You kind of ruined that. All right, let's get right into it. Kenny D writes, it's not Kenny G, sadly. PK Subban has 6 points in 3 games against the Bruins. Do you think he has extra motivation to perform at a high level as a result of the disturbingly racist tweets after Game 1 of this series?
I thought that in hockey that we had moved on from this after what happened with Joel Ward a few years back. You remember that?
It was only a few years ago.
Do you remember that, though?
Yes.
Okay, but that was like one of the biggest, most publicized racial incidents in hockey ever since, the internet, social media, and all that stuff. That was one of the most. So I thought we had moved beyond this, and it just seems that America as a whole has so much more to learn.
But because of the expense and money that needs to be put behind hockey, it's the least integrated sport.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
And where it came from as well, where it originated.
Yeah, I mean, I said something to that effect yesterday. Basketball and soccer, these types of sports are very cheap, they're affordable, and when you have low income, it's much easier to play these.
It's not shocking to think that there are fans out there of the sport that are used to that because of their racist mindsets.
Being from Boston, we're a historically racist
That is
city.
true. It's one of the most still one of the most racist cities in the North.
It's not a joke. Like Bill Russell hated playing in Boston growing up because it's just they hated him. He was the best player in the world.
If you look at this, there's such a large scale history of pride among the African American community when it comes to sports, and there are players like Bill Russell. Obviously, this is a completely different era, completely different situation.
Much different.
But he was one of those players. Jackie Robinson was one of those players that thrived off of pride. Mm-hmm. And I do think there is an element to that going on here.
Absolutely. I mean, after that happened, he comes out and I can't remember. Was it before Game 2? I think so. It was before Game 3. So he scores a goal and has an assist. If you're going to really be that stupid and add fuel to the fire for an enormous rivalry, well, that's your own fault.
The funny thing is, if PK Subban played for the Bruins, there'd be no issue because they had Anson Carter played for this team for years.
Well, you also know that his younger brother is a part of the Bruins organization, Malcolm Subban. He's a goalie for Providence. So you have an African-American player in your ranks. Why would you say that?
The fans probably don't even know that.
Yeah, no, they probably don't. That's how stupid and
He'll come up and be like, what's going on?
It's ridiculous.
As a fan of the sport, as a fan of pretty much every sport, I remember when Todd Bertuzzi put that hit on, what was his name?
Oh, God, you're hitting me right on the spot here. Moore? Was it Moore? I can't remember.
I honestly
don't. From Colorado.
Steve Moore?
I remember.
Okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, I have to look
when
it up.
When he put that hit on him and everything, and the fallout and the criticism, and what the team went under through that, I think that this is even on a higher level. But if you were a fan in Boston who is not related to what's going on here, who is not participating in it, it must really suck. It must really suck to feel like your team is getting all this backlash because there's some idiots out there.
Yeah,
there are a lot of them.
Yeah, there are a lot of them that feel like they need to do this, and it puts you under scrutiny as a fan of the team.
Puts the whole team under scrutiny,
exactly.
too. Because
the organization, the team, the fans.
They have to bear the burden of their fans.
And what do you say to somebody that comes up to you and says, "Oh, you're terrible fans. Look at what's going on here." You're like, "Well, I'm not that way."
Yeah,
but there's really it's just how it's going to be, and it stinks.
The perception of a fan base as a whole with a couple idiots doing stupid things online. That's what happens.
There's a whole other issue of social media and hiding behind social media that could be discussed here.
I'll say that's a whole nother rabbit hole to jump down.
It is.
Today's
Let's move on to the Bills.
No, there's no Bills talk. All right, we did say we talked about this earlier on the show. Stephen S. writes, Roy Hibbert exploded in Game 2, not literally, single-handedly carrying the Pacers to a hard-fought victory. Is this a sign of a resurgence for Roy or just another flash in the pan? Nick, do you want to take credit for this?
Yes, I do. It was all me. It was my doing.
But you just said it doesn't matter. So
I appreciate you.
No, we don't even play the games. There's no reason to play the games.
I love you, Nick. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So much love on this show today.
Here's the thing. we had talked about how this was a much better matchup for Roy Hibbert. This was a situation where he should potentially be able to thrive. After the first game coming out in 0-0, I think that kind of blew all of our minds and kind of put us on our heels and said, you know what, maybe this really is for real.
He got benched pretty quickly in that game, too.
28 points is a little bit too much to expect from him, I think, but it's really nice to see that he had a big bounce back like that. And as an organization, hats off to the Pacers for keeping everything positive for him. I heard a lot of really positive stories about Paul George, David West, and all them taking him aside. I think Paul George even took him out fishing. That's kind of weird, but it's
so
oh, hey, that's cool. Yeah.
All right, I'd like to do a little trivia here. How many points do you think Roy Hibbert had in the first series against Atlanta total?
30.
17.
37 points over a 7-game series, 26 rebounds. He had 28-9 in Game 2 of this series.
Yeah, okay.
That's incredible.
Well, I do think there is a tide turning here. I think that what needed to happen was that some of the veterans needed to step up and sit down Roy Hibbert and say, listen, and change their strategy, too, because you could see during that game how many times he established position. This is exactly what I said on the show yesterday. He established position, they got the rock inside to him, and either he made a move towards the hoop or he kicked it back out. But they actually ran some of the offense through him, which is what he needed, what they did all of last year. A big part of what makes them successful.
This team was a lot better when Paul George wasn't trying to be like a Russell Westbrook, trying to take the ball up, make his own plays. You gotta have, if you have a 7'2" center or whatever he is, you gotta facilitate the offense through him in the paint. At least let him touch the ball every single time down the court.
The subject is kind of difficult to approach, though, because don't you think he understood what he's doing? You got to think that he at least understands the situation that he was in. So for people to be pulling him aside and everything, it seems like you could kind of pile it on a little bit more, put the burden on him more. So the way that they handled the situation is actually it's cool to see because it was all positive. They kept it positive and made it happen.
I think David West doing that was what was needed, and I think he's on the uptick. And if he can play. Obviously, he won't play on this level every game, but if he can play with this type of element in the offense, I think they've got a shot against Miami if they make it through.
Definitely. That's what they need.
If they make it through is the big if. All right, we got one more question because tonight is the big night. Adam H. writes, the NFL draft begins tonight. Are you a fan of false rumors being floated around in the public, and do you think there are any big moves to be made tonight?
There's always going to be lies and deceit that go on leading up to the actual draft in which certain teams are saying they're not interested in a player, they're not looking to trade up, they're not looking to trade down.
And then boom.
They know who they've got in their pocket and who they're going to pick. It's always going to happen that way, and I think it's part of the entertainment of the whole thing.
You know what I heard? That this is the most popular or most watched non-game sport-related instance. I can't think of the word that I'm trying to say here. You know what I'm trying to say? This is a non. It's like
sports programming that isn't a game.
Yes, exactly. This is the most popular, but you got to wonder why is it so popular. I think ESPN picked it up back in 1980, but look at where we are now. It's a 3-day event.
It's too much.
It is too much.
I'm sorry,
it's
but
ridiculous.
The NBA draft is still way more fun.
But
there are so many people that have jobs specifically because of the popularity of the NFL
draft. But it works,
draft.
and we can say the NFL draft or the NBA draft is way more fun, but this is more popular.
You know what? The NBA draft isn't more fun. The NBA draft lottery is more fun. When those little ping pong balls come and there's representatives of each team, that is so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and one of them is marked so that the commissioner knows which one to pick.
They don't do that anymore.
So much fun.
That was David Stern in 1990 or 1980.
It happened.
It did. 100% happened.
Okay. All right.
Can we talk about this Sam Bradford thing really quickly?
They're all also saying that they're going to move the draft back up even further or back even further next year because of the success that they've had in promoting it with a longer period of time in between.
It's just ridiculous.
No.
Why
would
I want to watch
mid-May
that?
next year?
All right, do we think there's going to be any first-round deals? Anybody moving up? Because apparently St. Louis said they're going to be moving back. I don't know
Bills are going to get the number 1 pick.
That's not going to happen in a million years.
I think you're definitely going to see somebody move up.
Bills.
Because of the hype.
Johnny
Manziel is a product of hype. Many of these players become products of hype.
So many fan bases are going to be really mad if their teams don't pass over them that need quarterbacks. Like Minnesota's fan base, although Cleveland's fan base should be not upset at all. Brian Hoyer's a pretty good quarterback.
He
showed some flashes.
He needs more time. He needs more time to pan out to see if that's actually.
I've heard a lot of people saying, how Cleveland might take an offensive lineman and a quarterback with their second pick later in the draft. Doesn't that seem a little bit reminiscent of the Joe Thomas Brady Quinn pick? Cleveland, they might have to go a little bit of a different route here.
Brady Quinn, miserable.
Yeah, but coming out of college, he was definitely one of the best.
Pretty boy Brady Quinn.
He wasn't as hyped as Manziel.
No, not at all.
This is
nobody's
big.
been as
Nobody
hyped.
is. I don't think anybody
good.
ever.
He could be good.
He could.
Could be good, but you know what's going to be good? Our value plays coming up after the break for StarFantasyLeagues.com on Friday. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at StarFantasyLeagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Donald, Teddy Bear 2, and the Deucey Moose. Only on the team.
We're back on the Star Fantasy League show after a false start by Zach during the break.
I burped.
You false started.
I burped.
It got weird.
It was okay.
Things usually get a little bit weird here on the Star Fantasy League show. We like to have fun.
Yeah.
And then Zach just does weird things, so that happens.
Love hanging out with you guys.
Oh, that's so adorable, but not true at all.
Sometimes.
On occasion.
Nobody likes to be here.
Here and there.
It's a tiny little studio cage. We're all hot and sweaty.
It's hot in here.
Nobody's wearing shirts. It's weird. This is a weird vibe going on the Star
It's the way
Fantasy
we
League show.
do.
You know what's not weird, though? Playing daily fantasy sports on StarFantasyLeagues.com. It's awesome. It's not
That
weird
is
at all.
totally normal.
It's very normal. And if it's not normal to you, you should start playing because, come on.
Your girlfriend wants you to play.
That's probably not true at all. She wants you to pay attention to her and buy her shoes.
That's true. My
Stop
relationship has
paying
been
attention to it.
completely ruined by daily fantasy.
Has it really?
Well,
Megan's not excited about any of this?
only some hours of the well, and then when I actually win a good
Watch
chunk
all
of
the
change, I can
games.
take her to dinner.
Oh, that's nice.
But while I'm at dinner, I have to look at my phone.
Yep, that does happen.
So
I've noticed that.
Sorry.
All right, you know what? Let's jump right
Sorry,
into
I'm
it.
not sorry.
We unveiled a new segment yesterday on the show. It's called Stanology. Zach, tell us a little bit about what Stanology is, and then go through it for us.
Okay, Stanology is a one-week segment that we're running right now that will address certain stats in baseball and how they can be utilized when it comes to daily fantasy.
These are weird stats, too. These are not your normal run-of-the-mill ERA.
It's the most statistically
They won't show
driven
you these
sport.
on ESPN, folks.
These are some advanced metrics, although they are starting to get towards a little bit more of the stuff.
Not like us.
This is true. All right, jump into it. What's your stat of the day for us?
Today's stat of the day is WOBA, which is weighted on base average.
Wobba.
It's a metric that accounts for the actual value of certain types of hits. It measures hits in proportion with their ability to create runs. So you can look at WOBA and then analyze it, whether it's lefty or righty pitchers, and eliminate players based on that pitcher that they're facing. So if you have, I would say somewhere in the range of .350 OBA.
That's really good.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's
Look at that.
That's somebody that you really want to look at.
Woba.
We were teaching things that people may not even have heard of, may not even have seen before, and then you look at it and you go, oh, why am I
That's
not
why
looking at this?
the 3, 4, 5, 6 guys are so valuable because they can be in that position to drive in those runs.
Yep.
So ability to create runs on individual hits also translates into the odds of you having those types of players on base.
It's different than batting average, too, because batting average just takes into account whether or not you've actually gotten a hit. This is actually taking into account whether or not you can create runs in that situation or create more offense.
Perfect. All right, let's use that WOBA, and let's get us some value pitchers and value batters for Star Fantasy Leagues on Friday.
Value batter of the day for Friday is my boy, Miguel Cabrera.
Miggy is on fire right now.
8,409, a little bit of a high salary, but he is just on a tear. 15 for 28 versus Phil Hughes on his career with 5 home runs and 12 RBIs.
Big. Now, 15 at 28?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Homered in the last 2 games. Last 10 games, he's 16 for 44. Pretty solid. 10 runs, 5 doubles, 2 home runs, 12 RBIs.
And he was 6,700 as of about a week
that's
ago.
actually, but 8,400 is still pretty
It's
low.
still cheap. Last year he was 12,000.
Last night, he went up about $1,000 in one night.
He should have had 17 was it 17 or 20? He had a ton.
He was 17,
He had a ton of fans.
He's been going boom, boom.
That's a
Now's
monster
the time.
number.
Now's the time.
All right, how about your pitcher?
Jose Fernandez.
Oh, of
what
course.
an absolute stud. One of the top guys in the league right now. 4-1 with a 1.74 ERA, which is 4th in MLB. More importantly, one of the most consistent stats out there, strikeouts. He is 1st in the league with 65 strikeouts and 46
And
innings
that gets
pitched.
you the most
46
points.
innings.
I'm really surprised at you. You know that? Fernandez is a very high-priced pitcher, And your boy, Justin Verlander, is only 13,754.
Well, that's not to say that I won't have a lot of those guys.
I said you need 3 pitchers on StarFantasyLeague.com.
I mean,
3 starters.
Verlander's 4-1. He's got a 2.68 ERA. The only reason he's so low, he's only got 38 strikeouts on the year, but you know that's not going to stay that.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be an uptick, and that's one of the reasons that it's very important to analyze past stats, average career stats a little bit more than what they're doing currently, because those things will eventually average out.
Regress to the mean is what they say.
Agreed.
And he's going up against San Diego, so please.
That'll help. That certainly does help, playing some less than stellar teams.
You know who's back in the game tomorrow night?
I don't.
Your boy, Scott Feldman.
Oh, God.
Our value placer.
Scott Feldman. No.
Why?
No Scotty Feldman.
Why no Feldman?
Stop it. No. Not going to happen.
I got a value play, too.
You do? Okay, perfect.
Pablo Sandoval. Those are my top plays before.
The Kung Fu?
Pablo Sandoval.
Panda Bear?
Panda Bear, also friends with Teddy Bear, too.
Probably.
He's at 3,500, which is the minimum. He's just been slumping along to start off the year. You got to think that that's going to turn around. He's still hitting third in the lineup, lots of opportunities, and he is starting to get hot right now.
Yep. San Francisco is one of the better teams in the majors right now, too.
Mm-hmm. All right, perfect. Let's move on to NHL. 2 games in the playoffs, round 2. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. I have to ask first, is Corey Crawford playing?
Tonight's actually the hardest night to pick a goalie, but yes, he is.
You mean Friday?
I'm sorry, Friday, yes. Yeah, no, Friday's definitely the hardest night to pick Corey Crawford.
Corey Crawdad.
But I'm picking him anyways.
Of course you are. Every single day on the Star Fantasy League show, Corey Crawford's playing, Nick picks him.
Here's the reason that I picked him, though. Minnesota's actually really good at home, so I think that's part of the reason that they won the other night. But Marc-Andre Fleury and Briskalov are such a roller coaster, and the Rangers are on their heels. I really would rather just stick my eggs in Corey Crawford's basket instead. Oh, man, that was funny. We're so mature.
That's pretty good.
That was just the weirdest thing. It's not even that it was.
Stick your eggs
it's just
in
the
his basket.
weirdest thing you've said.
Oh, my God.
Right,
Roll up.
Let's stick your fantasy eggs in Corey Crawford's basket.
I can't even hold myself together.
You said it.
All right. Okay,
God,
let's go on to we'll start with the Rangers-Pittsburgh game. The Rangers caught a ridiculously raw deal. I'm not a Rangers fan. I actually despise them, but they played 7 games in 11 days. 2 were back-to-back games. 1 was against Philly and 1 was against Pittsburgh. So I'm calling out the NHL there. That's bad. That is ridiculous. You just cost the Rangers a real shot at this series.
Boo, Batman.
They're down 3-1 to Pittsburgh, and you got to believe that they're on their way out right now. The series is going back to Pittsburgh, so they got the upper hand. Regardless of what's going on, 15 shots on goal for the Rangers last game, not going to get you anywhere. So you got to imagine that they're really on their way out. For Pittsburgh, though, they have a lot of good things going on. Evgeny Malkin is on fire right now. He has 5 goals and 7 assists in the playoffs, so I would definitely pick him. He is my player of the day at 14,559.
Who was it? Who was your player of the day?
Malkin.
Evgeny
Malkin.
Even Lundqvist just hasn't looked. I mean, he hasn't been making those miraculous saves that you're used to seeing him make that actually can keep the Rangers in the game.
Completely agree. Other players for Pittsburgh, UC Jokinen has 6 goals, 3 assists. He's a good value. Brandon Sutter's another great value play. So I think the Penguins have a great shot to close that one out.
All right, how about that other game?
Chicago at Minnesota. Minnesota took advantage of home ice last time, so we'll see what happens in this one. There was no offense for Chicago, though. They had 19 shots on goal. Minnesota played a pretty physical game, so we'll see what happens. Mikael Granlund was one of the biggest offensive contributors for Minnesota. He had 2 goals. And for the Hawks, they still have a ton of value there. I really like them. I would rather put my eggs in their basket.
So you just want all the eggs you have in Chicago.
I just want to put eggs in Chicago.
Big on eggs.
I love eggs.
John, you forgot about my stack. I just want to go through it real quick. Cleveland Indians facing Jake Odorizzi. Many guys have a history against him, but he has given up a very high WOBA to left-handed pitchers. So you want to target the guys in the middle of the order: Michael Brantley, Carlos Santana, Nick Swisher, and Asdrubal Cabrera.
So you're talking about the Cleveland Barons of the AHL, since we were just talking about hockey.
Yeah, I like how you just jumped around.
I had to get it in.
Zach just
people need the stack.
You had to get your eggs in.
It's not like we don't recap the value plays of the day in the last segment of the day every single day.
So they want to hear it now.
Okay. You know what I'd like to hear right now?
Bills.
NBA. Oh. No, stop it. NBA Friday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. 2 games again. I'm hoping there's not a third straight blowout in this Oklahoma City LA Clippers series. Why can't we have an exciting game between these two teams?
I don't think that's going to happen. I just
Why?
don't. I don't think that's going to happen.
You think every
These
game's going to
two
be a
teams
blowout
are
one way or the other?
No, I said I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
Well, the first two games have been.
Oh,
so.
yeah. No, I think we're going to get 3 or 4 close games in this series.
Yeah, I think the rest of the way these teams are going to... They felt each other out in the first 2 games. They felt each other out in the first 2 games.
That one wasn't funny at all.
Boo.
Not at all.
You know what? Forget you two. Go play basketball.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to play
going.
basketball.
I'm gonna go
let's
shoot
go.
some hoops.
Go for it.
All right.
All right, we got to
Okay,
get.
let's move on.
Yeah, we got to get into this. Like I said, the first game.
You two suck.
Clippers, Oklahoma City, the most stable. Obviously, Durant and Westbrook just had 50-point games. One of them got Westbrook got a triple double, even though it shouldn't have counted. That was
They basically
ridiculous.
just gifted him
They
a
gave it
triple
to him.
double.
And then Durant was one assist shy of a triple double. But the most consistent person in the entire playoffs right now is still Chris Paul. He's a 40-point threat every single night. That's pretty much that's where his floor is at right now. It's 40 points. His ceiling's probably still around 50. He's at 20,000. He's 2,000 less than Kevin Durant. I still think he's the best player on the board.
Well, I'm amazed to the degree at which they've been just leaving him alone. I mean, they've basically bounced off of screens and just left him.
I don't know if they know how to defend him.
Because he's just going to pass the ball off and really
he's
well.
Carve them, if they leave him open, he's going to hit a 3.
Wouldn't you rather leave DeAndre Jordan one-on-one versus Chris Paul in this series?
Jordan has been epically bad against this team in the regular season, and we said in the playoffs he's had 16 points in back-to-back games against them. He just hasn't been good.
I don't think they're going to be shying away from the game plan given what they were able to do last night.
Oh, yeah, but... Yeah,
and Blake hasn't been good. Okay, here's the thing I wanted to say earlier. You just talked about Kevin Durant winning the MVP and then going nuts. Jamal Crawford's going to get his Sixth Man of the Year trophy on this game. I think he might be one of the players of the day. And listen to this. His salary on StarFantasy.com, $11,111. Woo! There's something about that.
Yeah,
I think
freaky.
that combined with the fact that he's going to be getting his trophy, put him in your lineup. He's a must.
So this could be back-to-back trophy victories for these teams.
It could. I honestly think that's a thing. That really is one of those
It's very
weird
real.
intangibles. Everyone's cheering for you. You get recognized as the best sixth man for the second time in your career. That's a big deal.
I'd be interested to see what the champs do every year when they get their rings in the first game.
They usually lose.
Do they?
Yeah, it's really weird. Because I remember Miami won their rings, and then Boston
it's
won their
usually
beat
a
them.
big game too.
Yeah.
So it's not a
It
walk
is.
in the park.
That's
type
true.
of
Yeah,
game.
but they also don't have anything to prove.
Right.
That's true. All right, we got to say it again. Perk had 15 in the last game, 5,000. I think there's so few centers tonight. I still think Perk is going to be a great pick.
I mean,
If he gets 15 again, if he gets 12 again, that's fine.
I've got Steven Adams in.
Oh, my. Do you really?
Yeah, well, I was looking between him and Perk, and I figured I could drop Steven Adams down and be able to get in Nene.
Wow.
Who hasn't been doing that well.
Yeah, that's true. And also, shout out to J.J. Redick. He's 12 for 18 in the series shooting. That's obviously not enough shots for him to really be that relevant, but he's still putting up around 20 fantasy points. In this last game, Indiana at Washington. Man, this Washington team, they're good.
They're definitely good.
Bradley Beal is better than good. He's on pace to be a 40-point guy by the end of the series.
Yeah, they're very exciting to watch. I think Bradley Beal is, having his coming out party.
Yeah, they only scored 82 points in the last game.
But against one of the best defenses in the league, you have to still keep that in mind. They really are. They're top 10 against
I'm not
need to
saying
put up
they're
more
going
than that,
to. I don't think they're going to win the series, personally. However, this is a young team that if they're able to pad their bench and continue to develop these guys, they have a very bright future.
Yeah,
Hold
very,
on to.
very bright future. For Indiana, the guy that I've said has been the most consistent, I was surprised this actually happened, is George Hill. George Hill is consistent back-to-back 20-plus point games. He's just been solid for 10,174, StarFantasy.com. I think he's another just must. He's solid.
He's stepping it up, and Frank Vogel's been confident in him enough to give him 36, 37 minutes.
Like I said yesterday, though, he does more than just score, and that's what makes him more valuable. He fills the stat sheet in other categories.
He's gotten a little bit more aggressive as the playoffs have rolled on.
I wouldn't shy away from. I would kind of stay away from Ray Hibbert. Obviously, I don't think he's going to have that crazy of a game.
I've got Hibbert in.
I don't know if you can shy away from him, John.
I still like David West. I think he's going to pick up the slack because he just
You don't think
deferred to Ray
Hibbert
Hibbert.
gets over 20?
His price is so low.
You know what? I don't think he gets over 20.
Coming out party. Still going on.
All right, we're going to follow the Roy Hibbert coming out party. Apparently, see if it
coming out.
See if it continues on Friday in the
Reemergence.
NBA. All right, after the break, we're recapping all of our value picks on StarFantasy.com, and you'll listen to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
Contact us on Twitter if you want to get in John Old's mailbag or you want to have some random questions, who to start. Although it doesn't matter because Nick thinks it's all a joke anyway.
Yeah. Despite that, I'd be happy to talk to each and every one of you.
All right, let's make it worth something then, John.
No, we're not going to do
Let's
that.
do it.
You're going to ruin the last segment of the show for the 80th time. You always love doing this.
I ruin it? Nazi Steblenko ruins it?
Yes,
that what's going on?
Steblenko ruins it. All right, let's go over our value plays of the day for Friday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Baseball, we got to go. Your hometown boy, Zach. Miguel Cabrera.
Not from there.
Whatever. Hometown is in your favorite team. Sorry. There's no professional baseball team in
I
Rochester.
do like the sound of that, though.
All right, and Jose Fernandez for pitcher, one of the top pitchers in the league by far.
I got to see him pitch.
That is true.
Yeah.
Along with 8 other fans. Congratulations.
Zach, how was it growing up on 8 Mile?
Yeah. Oh, well, let's not talk about that. You made it out alive.
You did.
They don't call me Rabbit for nothing.
And now he hangs on Lyle Ave with all the streetwalkers.
I knew it.
All right, in the NHL, we're going for Corey Crawford and Evgeny Malkin. Gino. And in the NBA, we for some reason didn't pick plays of the day because we were so flustered by that Washington-Indiana series. So I'm going to give you a chance to pick a play of the day right now, Zach.
My play of the day
Steven Adams.
is going to be
Hibbert.
Go for it. Go ahead. Pick Roy Hibbert. I dare you to.
Hill.
Blake Griffin.
Wow. That one's out there. He's not even on my fantasy radar for Friday.
Blake Griffin, I
Blake
think
show.
that they're going to come home and he's going to find some openings. He's going to knock down some jumpers and open up the lanes. I think he's going to have a good game.
All right.
Jumpers, eh?
He's been knocking down jumpers.
His jumper's gotten significantly better. That's part of his
Significantly better from his rookie year?
Have you watched him?
Yeah,
Hello?
I have.
That's why he came in third in the MVP voting.
Clearly
because
you
of
haven't
that.
even watched him.
All right.
Shouldn't have come.
My play of the day, my boy, Chris Paul. I've been riding him the entire. He's my Corey Crawford for you, Nick.
Yeah,
He's
that's
my
true.
Corey Crawford.
He is.
Okay.
All right, we got to give away value on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Thousands of dollars in guaranteed prize pools every day. We got that new feature, CSV. Export your salaries, your lineups, do everything you want.
And you get all the stats that come with the Star Fantasy League's My Lineup page. You get all of those all in one file. Manipulate them, use them.
Okay.
Get your dollars per point set up,
Well,
all that stuff.
You want to do that, but you want free money. All you got to do is tweet us at SFL Show. You get
Okay.
$5 free in your account unless your name is Nick Steblenko.
Okay.
Wow.
Keep saying that.
I know. For some reason, he thinks he wants to ruin the last segment every single day.
I think
But
I
hold
want
on. I'm going to ruin it for him. If you want to put all of your eggs in Corey Crawford's basket, just ask Nick. Take it easy, guys.